Good morning from Pamukkale, which is a reasonably uncomfortable bus night drive away from Cappadocia, where we have been before. And it's a really small village with a few sites, so we were told one day is enough. We stay for one night anyways, just to be sure. And now we are in line early in the morning for the calcium terraces, which is kind of the most famous site here, so we should be early. And then the rest of the day we will explore a few other antique sites that are here.
And while it is impossible to have the place to yourself, despite being in line before the opening, early in the morning the place is less crowded than later on the day.
So these terraces are formed by calcium. The water comes through the rocks. It contains a lot of calcium that it dissolved in the rocks and then flows down these hills and leaves the sediments, and that's what forms these beautiful terraces. Although nowadays a few of them are already empty, actually more than half of them are empty.
And in some of them you cannot enter, and some of them you can walk through them. So they say the ones that you cannot enter is for the regeneration of the pools.
As usual, I'm already dying of heat, so I'm going to take a short dip into the water. If I fit here... Yo no quepo. It's better a little bit, yes. Now the front.
It's better than that. If you scooch in more to the back, I think you can make a downer. You can make a dent. Back or front?
So, and while this is the Instagram and YouTube angle, just by tilting a little bit upstairs, now this is how reality looks like. So it's really packed here, really crowded.
And while the travertines are beautiful and the area isn't that small, they are almost dry, all of them. So here you see behind me all this area full of travertines, and they are all dried, and only there is a very tiny area where water flows still, and you see the blue in the water, and that's the most beautiful part. But if you imagine all of this being full of blue colors, that would be amazing. We have read a few blogs and we have researched the internet, and it seems like the water flow has changed and the water has been diverted. So only it flows only towards one area where the tourists are, and everything else then is dried up, which is so sad.
So while the Travertine pools are the most famous site here, you actually buy an entrance ticket to the old city of Hierapolis, which the Greeks built here for spa and thermal reasons actually. So there are a few thermal pools and stuff around, and it's actually quite a vast area. Right back there into the mountains there is a theater built. There's parts of the city left in this direction. So bring some time to explore. There's much more to see than just the pools, despite them being definitely like the highlight of the area.
This is the Bath Basilica. It was first a bath and then a basilica, and it is placed outside of the city. And it was because in the ancient Greek times, the people before entering any city, any Greek city, they had to wash themselves to prevent any epidemic before entering the city.
And here we are standing in the latrines, or rather the toilets back in the day. So the houses didn't have toilets, it was public toilets in Roman and in Greek times. And going to toilet 2000 years ago was kind of similar and different in the same way than today. So it was similar in a way that they had running water. So they would flush all the goodies into the cloaca, into the drains. And they would also have running fresh water for hygiene. It was different in a way that you wouldn't have separate toilet parcels, but it would be two long benches actually, here left and right. And you would sit next to each other, you would have conversations, you would make business on the toilet. So no pun intended, but you would make business while doing business. That's just how it was in the Roman times as well as in the Greek. And yeah, it's quite interesting. This thing here is very well preserved, we read.
Inside the historical site, you can also find the Cleopatra pools, and in my opinion, it is very, very, very expensive to add it on top of the ticket. However, today is such a hot day that we actually really need to jump into the water, and it looks quite nice.
After our refreshment on the pools, we headed back to the Travertine terraces to see the sunset.
Pamukkale actually means cotton castle, and with this light you can imagine why. Thanks for watching!
If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button below.
And leave us a comment. We would like to hear your opinions and thoughts.